Hello and welcome back for part 2 of another controversial topic. I'm going to do the intro because it is very fitting for what we're talking about. I call this the crazy troll nation. The crazy, just knowing it is okay to be your authentic self however you are, not pretending to be someone or something that you're not, just loving yourself for who you are, however you are, while also working toward becoming a better you for yourself, not for anybody else. The troll part is not caring too much about what the beauty community thinks or what they say you should do, because watching beauty related content, we hear you need this brand, you need this tool, you need this technique, and we're going to talk about here in this part 2 video also. So you'll hear you have to use this product, you have to use it like this, and you have to like all these things. And I'm here to tell you, if you want to try all the things, go ahead and try all the things, but not because you feel like you have to, because somebody told you that you have to. Use whatever you want to, makeup or hair care wise, any way you want to, because you have to be satisfied with what you look like with whatever you use. The bottom line here at the Crazy Troll Nation, excuse me, just had a salad. The bottom line here at the Crazy Troll Nation is to love yourself for who you are and for how you look, period. Not trying to live up to somebody else's standards or because so-and-so said such and such. Be satisfied with yourself, love yourself, regardless of what other people may say or think. And I know it's hard. It's easy to say, hard to do. I know, because we're conditioned, don't do this, do that. And so we grow up with these ideas of caring what other people think. And I'm not saying don't care what people think, just don't care to the point where you don't know who you are because you're so busy living trying to please other people. So that's what I'm saying. So if I didn't mention it earlier, my name is Dion. And so we're going to jump in. I do curse sometimes in videos because I curse sometimes, period. And there is an organism that lives in our throat that randomly hiccups, gurgles, and belches. Should it make an appearance, I will say excuse me, whether I think you heard it or not. So we're going to jump into this. I'm going to move this mirror down here because I do not need this mirror down here. And I do have notes on my paper to help me stay on point. This part 2, y'all, as I said in part 1, comments are always welcome. If you just want to be negative, just don't. If you're already thinking whatever, just go ahead and click out the video. And yes, I do want people to watch. I want to provoke thought. I want you to really think about, why do you believe the things that you believe? And I just want to challenge that, for us to unlearn things that we've learned throughout our life and to just learn to enjoy ourselves for who we are and to love ourselves for who we are. So if you just want to hear one thing I say, get upset, leave a comment, and leave, you're going to miss something important, because I've done videos before where someone left a comment, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, blah, 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 blah. But in the video I did, so that told me that they left early. And so I will comment something like, some of the points you're saying are not valid because I did make them, so I do recommend you watch the entire video. And usually they don't comment back. Usually when people just leave negative comments, or if they're upset and just leave a comment, usually they don't come back. And I do reply to every comment unless I think they're the not so good type of troll. But so yeah, feel free to leave your comments. Leave comments about your experiences, about what we're going to talk about, and just help each other out in the comments. Let's be encouraging to each other. Let's be respectful of each other. All of our experiences are our own, so we're not to say, well, you shouldn't have felt that way, because if somebody feels a certain way, they feel a certain way. And if you don't like how they felt, then just don't comment. But we all have experiences. If you're watching my channel, you are grown. We've all had experiences. And so who's to invalidate someone else's? Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And if you disagree, that's fine. We're adults. Let's agree to disagree. So we're going to get into this. The first thing I'm going to talk about, and this is from what I've seen here on YouTube and even in real life, meaning my life out in the world and not just here on YouTube. And also, I don't quite know how to say it without, okay, we're just going to talk about hair. Okay. I've heard quite a few things here on the YouTube streets about the natural hair community. It can be a wonderful thing depending on who you watch, is what I'll say. It can be very helpful. And I have chatted with a few people and they said the natural hair community was very helpful for them finding, new products, what to use, finding what didn't work for them that other people raved about, which is the same as makeup. Everything doesn't work for everybody. But there's this thing about long hair. And I'm like, where did that come from? The part one, I did talk a lot about conditioning. Well, is it conditioning? Have we learned to not love ourselves for our features? And this is part of it. And even as adults, I see some videos, and in the natural hair community, there's this controversy, about what natural hair is. For some people, natural hair is just wearing your hair without chemicals in it. For people with curly or kinky hair, a perm will make their hair straight, whereas for people with straight hair, a perm makes their hair curly. So we're already on opposite sides of the line here. But there was this thing in the natural hair community. Well, you put heat on your hair to straighten it so your hair isn't natural, where other people were like, well, if you don't put chemicals in your hair, that is your natural hair, whether you put heat on it or not. And so there was just this war going on. And this was years back. And I was just like, why is this way? Like, why are we arguing amongst ourselves over what's natural hair or what's not? Like, just let people do what they want to do. If you want to say your hair is natural and you put a hot comb to it to straighten it, so who cares what you call it? If you don't use any chemical in your hair and you wear it in its natural state, then call it natural hair. I will say, though, I do love when I see my fellow brothers and sisters with locks, or when they have, when they just wear, like if they have kinky hair, they just wear it out in the fro. Whatever it is whatever it is. I just love that, because that's owning it. This is my hair when I wake up. I might kind of fluff it with my fingers and that's it. I love it. They might put a band on or a scarf on and the hair is just out. I love it. I just love it, because it's like owning who you are and accepting it and knowing that you are amazing for it, and not feeling like I need to have long hair, I need to have thick hair for my hair to be healthy. That is not true. Have you ever seen someone whose hair was really long, but they had like a foot, 12 good inches of dead ends? Long hair does not mean you have healthy hair. And I've seen it, and I'm just like, they need to get that cut off, because if you have split ends, it's going to continue to split. You got to cut them off. But some people, they're just like, I need to have long hair. It needs to be thick for it to be healthy. That is a myth, and it is a lie. My hair right now, the little bit of hair I got, I need to cut it. The shorter I cut it, it seems like the faster it grows. Because when it would look like this would usually be 2 weeks, and I would cut it every 2 weeks. But then I cut it lower, and I'm like, I can cut it every 3 weeks. But now, even at 2 weeks, I'm like, damn, I still need to cut it every 2 weeks. So I was in and out of braids for over 10 years. And in between being in and out of braids, my hair was natural, no chemical. I would put heat on it because I didn't know what to do with it. And I still don't know what type of hair my hair was. It wasn't tight and kinky, but it wasn't that flowy curly either. It would just absorb moisture. Like, even if I flat ironed it, had a nice little flip at the end, if I go outside and the wind blows, my hair would just, that flatness from the hot comb, the flat iron, my hair would just, it would just gradually just puff up. And not the kind of puff like a fro, but just like a straight puff. So my hair wasn't kinky. It had some curl to it, but not that wavy curl. And so it was like, what do I do? It was an experience. And I went through watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I went out and bought a bunch of stuff. And one of my aunts has locks. Another aunt, she has short, kinky, thick hair. So she was like, oh, you need to do this and do this. So I would buy all these products, buy these certain rollers, and do blah, 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 blah. And I would do all the things. And I'm like, my hair don't come out like yours do. Like, hers was beautiful. And she would be like, what kind of hair you got? I'm like, I'm trying to find out. And so it was really just a frustrating journey of spending, just like with makeup in the beginning. Just trying almost everything that people were saying you need to do, and then finding out that it didn't work. So it was like, so what am I supposed to do? High porosity, low porosity, density, non-density, 4A, B, C, 3, whatever. I still don't know. All I know is that if I were to wash my hair, back when I had more hair, if I would wash it and even just towel dry it, it would just, and I would have like a few curls here, like a couple defined curls here and there, but the rest was just, but it wasn't kinky though. It was just, and it just held moisture. It could be dry, go outside, it would just puff up. And it would not hold curl. So I would spend like 30 minutes doing my hair, flat iron, curl it. It would look real pretty, go outside. Pff. I'm like, what? But there was this thing, and even as a kid, I talked in part 1 about TV shows and who we saw in movies and TV shows. And that's what we saw, you know, light skin, Caucasian, long flowy hair. And so it's like, oh, that's what we need to have because that's what we're seeing, even though we know that they were different ethnicities than most of us who were watching, where I was. But it was just this thing about, you know, long hair, thick hair. And I remember when I started cutting my hair short, I'm gonna pop up a few pictures over here of when I stopped wearing braids. And did I stop it? Yeah. And so I did have, growing up, my hair was like down here and it was thick. And I remember I cried a lot when I got my hair done because it was just thick. And it was like down to here, it was long. And I was a kid and, you know, preteen and into my early teenage years. And my mother, my cousin Sue, she was one of the, if there was ever an angel on earth, it would have been her, like seriously. And every 2 weeks, my mom would take me and my sister to her house and she would wash, blow dry, and hot press our hair. Back old school, let me know if you remember this, when they would take the hot comb and put it on the stove. And when it get hot, they would hold it up, blow on it, tap it on a towel, and then, you know, they would have your hair sectioned already and then just run it through your hair. And then you got to hold your ear so they can, you know, get close to the scalp and, you know, comb it out and don't burn your ear. But I used to cry. And even as an adult, my cousins, they were like, I remember you used to cry when my mom used to do your hair. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm grown now, that's over. But, so, and what messed my hair up was, and this is way back. And so both my sister and I, you know, my mom would have our cousin Sue do our hair, you know, wash it, blow dry it, straighten it, flat iron it, well, hot comb it, press it. And then the Jerry curls came out, and my mom was like, because she was a nurse working double shifts, my dad was away in the military, so she just did not have the time. She just did not. And so Jerry curl came out, and it was like, ooh. And so I'm like, I don't want the Jerry curl. She was like, well, if you don't like it, they can take it out. So she had to get the Jerry curls, which I didn't like it. And so after a few months, what the stylist did was she put a straight perm on top of the curl perm. And if y'all know anything about hair, putting chemical on top of an opposite chemical, yeah, it messed my hair up. It messed my hair up, and it was never the same after that. But I still had like long hair though. But my hair was never as thick as it was before that. And so got rid of the Jerry curl, which means I had perms for a long time. And then I'm like, I don't want to keep getting perms. Like, I don't want to do that. So I started wearing braids because, again, it's like, what do I do with my hair? And I'm lazy, just like with makeup. I want to put the brush in the shadow, put it on my lid, and it's done. I don't want to do a whole bunch of stuff to go outside and just end up with a puff. And so I started wearing braids, and then I went into, you know, the military. So braids was easy because I didn't have to do it. You know, they blow the horn, you get up, you got 5 minutes to be out the door, fully clothed, rucksack, boots, all of that. And so it was very convenient. It was very low maintenance. And so when I got out the military, I kept with the braids on again and off again. I would, you know, take them out, leave them out for a month or so, go back and get them put back in. And I remember this one place I went to. I was like, y'all motherfuckers. I went to this place, and because it said black owned, you know, hair salon. So I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. So I go in, and by then I had already cut my hair. And so I go in, and I had asked her, first of all, she was younger than me. I was probably like in my 30s or 40s. And she was looking at me like, which gave me attitude because I'm like, I'm trying to give you business and you looking at me like, why are you in here? And I said, well, is there anyone who could do my hair? This is exactly what she did. Oh, we don't do short hair. That's exactly how she said it. I said, oh, well, excuse me. And I turned around and walked out the store, out of the salon. But I'm just like, and the thing was, the people who were in there were getting like weaves and wigs, which is fine. I'm not knocking it. But this goes back to the long hair concept. You are a beauty salon person. You don't do short hair, but you'll do a weave because it was about the long hair, the thick hair, all that. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just like, so I found somewhere else to go, and they were like, yeah, whatever. And, you know, she did my hair for years. But when I stopped wearing braids, I was trying to figure out what to do with my hair. And as I said, I'm lazy. And so I just kept getting it cut shorter and shorter and shorter. So you have seen by now in pictures when I was younger, way younger. And one of them, I was really thin too. I'm like, them days are long gone. They are long gone. And another one is one of my favorite pictures because it's of me and my mom. And yeah, she has dementia now. She doesn't know I'm her daughter. And that picture, I'm looking at it now, it's on top of my bookcase over there. That's my favorite picture because it's just me and her. I went to visit her. And when I look at that picture, it reminds me of who she was, which is not who she is today. And so that was my natural hair. And she had locks in her hair. And so that was my hair. And as you see in the picture, like I did have hair, but it's not about, you know, long hair, thick hair. It's whatever makes you comfortable, whatever you want to do. So when I started cutting my hair, I'm like, oh, this is so easy. And even before it was this short, I'm like, this is so easy and it's low maintenance. I can just get up and go. And I have to care about if it rains, if it snows, if it's windy, is it going to puff up, whatever. Am I going to lose the curl? You know, I could be out in the rain. I don't care. I don't need to be like trying to cover up or whatever. But it was this thing in the beauty community. What is natural hair? Know your hair isn't natural because you put heat on it. Your hair is only natural hair if you wear it in its natural state. So there was just all of this in-house bickering. And I'm like, why? Like, who told you that you had to have long, thick, flowy hair? Who told you that? It's because of what we saw on TV when we were growing up. Nobody had to tell us you're supposed to have long, flowy hair. If that's not how your hair is, but that's all you see, you're going to think that's what it's supposed to be. And that's how it was. And that's why there was that fighting. And that's why there was, oh, we don't do short hair. And that's why you see, I believe, for some, not everyone, that's why you see the wigs, you see the weaves, and all of them are always long, usually. Some people do rock short wigs, and I know some people have alopecia. Some people, they just want the ease, or, you know, they're transitioning from chemical to non-chemical and protective hairstyles. I understand all of that, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the mentality of you have to have long, thick hair for your hair to be considered healthy. It's a myth, because I've seen long hair that was thick, and the split ends was outrageous. So this goes into like, why is this that there's such a struggle just to be proud of what you look like, to be proud of what your hair looks like? I get compliments on my buzz cut, men and women. They be like, women be like, oh, I wish I had the nerve to do that. And I'm like, you can, I said, go ahead and do it. It's like, it's so easy, it's convenient. And they're like, I don't have the head shape for it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And men be like, I love your hair. They're like, you know, short-haired women are so sexy. And I'm like, really? You married? Okay, thanks. But I don't ask that question. But I'll be like, he thinks short hair is sexy. Oh. I know I'm being silly right now, but yeah, I get compliments on my hair. And even when I had braids, I'm going to pop up some pictures when I had braids, and I would switch up the color, you know, lighter brown, reddish brown, black, mix a little blonde in there, here and there. And I would always get compliments too. It's like I always got compliments on my hair, whether it was my natural hair, whether I had braids, whether it was a permanent, whether it was just flat iron, or whether it was just poof. And I think it's about your personality and just how you carry yourself. Excuse me. And that's what this is about, is just accepting whatever it is about you that is what about you, because that is who you are. Excuse me. And we're going to move on from here, but that's the hair part. So let me know if that resonates with any of you. What's your journey been like with your hair? Like, have you ever felt like it should be different, or you wanted it to be different? I remember back in junior high school, And I think it was when I was in Catholic school, because it was mostly white students. It was a few sprinkles in there, but it was mostly white. And so I heard girls talking one day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well, I gotta wash my hair, this and this and that." But it seemed like they would say that all the time. I gotta get up early every day so I can wash my hair before school. And I'm like, what do you mean you wash your hair every day? Because where I come from, we might wash our hair every week, every 2 weeks. And I didn't realize it then, but I tried something and I realized it. Because typically, depending on your genes, your genetic makeup, if you have a not to say normal, but a not oily scalp, you don't need to wash your hair all the time. If you don't put a lot of product in your hair, you don't need to wash your hair all the time. But the people that were the Caucasian people at the school I went to, they had oily scalp, oily skin. So they washed their hair every morning because to get the oils out of their hair. And so, but I didn't know that back then. And so I'm like, oh, well, that's what I need to do. And so I started washing my hair every day. Y'all, my hair got so dry. My hair started falling out. And I'm just like, but that's what they do. And so I told my mom, like, Mom, my hair's falling out. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I've been washing it every day. She's like, why? She's like, I'm just like, well, because so-and-so. She was like, your hair ain't like theirs. And I'm like, oh. And so that's when she explained to me different types of hair. And I was like, oh. And then I wondered as I got older, how many people at that age, like me, tried to do something that we just saw most people do. Just like we see certain things on TV as kids, and then that's what we do, even though they don't look like us. You know what I'm saying? Or we don't look like them or whatever. And so I learned something. And even in college, from my undergrad, we were going out somewhere. And she said, I'll be ready. I'll be ready to go in like, 20 minutes or less. And I'm like, what you mean? And she went like this. And then she said, I'll be ready in 5 minutes. I'm like, what? I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I don't need to wash my hair. No, she said, I don't need to take a shower because I don't need to wash my hair. And I was like, what do you mean you don't need to shower because you don't need to wash your hair? And she said she only takes showers when she needs to wash her hair because she washes her hair in the shower. And I'm like, I just shower every night just to be clean. Like, what do you mean you? And so and so I was really confused. And I asked another friend about it because I didn't know how to ask her and not sound offensive. Because I'm thinking like, so you only shower when you need to wash your hair? And she was like, yeah, every 2 to 3 days. And I'm just like, I shower every day? So that was a learning lesson too, because I was just like, what? So I'm just like, so then I started asking other Caucasian people I knew, like people I was cool with from the college, like, how often do you wash your hair? Like, because I was really just like thrown off because Catholic school as a kid, they're like, oh, I got to get up early every day to wash my hair before school. And now I'm in college for my undergrad, and she's like, I only take a shower every 2 or 3 days when I need to wash my hair. And I'm just like, it was confusing. But I knew by then just do what was right for my hair. And I did have my, natural hair out for my undergrad years, but it wasn't until after my undergrad when I started getting braids. But it was confusing. And when I started understanding why, because people took the time to explain things to me, then it became interesting. Like, okay. And so, yeah, I was doing my own hair, and I just did not know what to do with it. And I'm like, you know what? We just want to cut it off and keep it simple. Because braids made me lazy because it's so low maintenance. So low maintenance. I showed you some pictures. All of them look good. That's because I look good. Trolls always look fabulous, no matter what. And so I was just like, you know what? I did the faux mohawk for a little while when I had the side short, and I had like a little puff up here. If you look back at my older videos. But it was always not straight. It would be like... So one day I was just like, just cut it all off. Just take it all down. And she was like, you sure? I said, go ahead and do it if I change my mind. She was like, zip, zip, zip. And I was like, oh, I was like, this is nice. And this has been me ever since, and I love it. And so that's the hair part. That's the hair part. Just rock your hair however you want to, regardless of what people say. We're going to talk about weight. Whatever your weight is, as long as you're comfortable with it. I remember when they had the body mass index charts at the VA hospital. They don't have them at the VA hospital no more because there were tests done showing that because of how it's not about weight as much as it's about how the weight is distributed and how it's carried through your body. And there were studies that were showing that for non-POCs, they would have more belly fat weight, whereas POCs, and this isn't across the board, it was just a study, and I forget what study it was, but they were saying among the black population, weight was more distributed, like through the hips, through the thighs, and so that wasn't a concern. It was the belly weight that was the concern. And so they did away with the BMI charts because it wasn't inclusive of all different ethnicities. And so then even with that chart though, it's like everybody needs to fit into this box, but everybody didn't fit into the box. And so I'm glad that those studies were done to say it's not the weight so much as how it's carried and where it is on your body. And having said that, I have some overhang that I'm not happy with, but I'm not happy with it enough to do much about it right now. I'm just being honest and being transparent. If I could just go and lose 20 pounds, I would go. I really would, but I know it takes work. And, I have reasons, and I'm not saying that they're valid, but as a disabled veteran, I deal with chronic joint pain. And so stuff just hurts me to do. And there's times, I walk, I do this, I do that, and then I'm like, take a pain med and lay down because it just wipes me out. And it's really unfortunate because I do need to lose some weight. And some of it for me, a lot of it for me, half of it for me, is just eating healthy on a consistent basis. Because when I do eat healthy on a consistent basis, my overhang shrinks a little bit. My thighs will shrink a little bit. I remember when I could put my legs together and my thighs didn't rub. I remember that. And I'm gonna pop this picture up here. I was so thin in that picture, it was ridiculous. I don't know if I was clinically depressed and not eating or what, but I'm like, I will never see those days again. And my friend that was taking my pictures, she kept saying, why are you standing that way holding your stomach? I said, because I'm proud of how thin it is and I want people to see I don't have no stomach. Now, child, it just be hanging. It be hanging out. And my neighbor the other day, my special needs neighbor the other day, I had on capri leggings because one, they're comfortable, elastic waistband, and it was hot outside. He said, why you don't wear shorts? And I said, just because I don't. Because I didn't want to have to explain, okay, being chubby, when you wear shorts, your thighs are rubbing together. Where if you have on leggings, it just rubs the material. When you're chunky and your thighs are chunky and they rub together, like your shorts are here, but then like your thighs are here. So your thighs are rubbing together. Depending on what fabric you sit on. If you sit on plastic, your legs are going to stick to the plastic. You sit on leather, if it's hot, your legs are going to sweat against the leather. So I'm like, I don't wear shorts. I don't wear shorts because I'm like, this is just, no, that's just too much. Like all the rubbing and the heat and the cold and the sticking and the sweating. And so I just told him I just don't. And I do have a few pair of shorts, I do, but I just don't tend to wear them. But with weight, they talk about, oh my gosh, back in the day, I know I spoke about toys, I think earlier in part 1. All the girl figure dolls, busty, very thin waist, thin hips, thin thighs, thin legs, little petite feet. They were not correct anatomically whatsoever. And so I'm glad now today there are different dolls, different figures, different outfits, different hairstyles, different accessories. But back then, we only saw one thing. It was just the Barbie dolls, just Barbie and Ken. And I had Barbie dolls. They didn't look nothing like nobody I knew in my neighborhood. But that's what... So then you start thinking like, how come I don't look like that? Because that wasn't us. And even now, I don't know about like regular music, but I know like in the hip hop industry, and even on reality TV shows, you got breast augmentations, breast lifts, BBW, what is it called? BBLs, Brazilian butt lifts. And other stuff that people are doing to get that hourglass figure that looks like a Barbie doll figure. And I'm like, but that's not your figure. Like, can you just love how you look? And so there's people that are having surgeries to look a certain way because that's what it's really convoluted because I see it mostly in the hip hop industry because I listen to a lot of hip hop and even videos and stuff like that. You know, people like Lil Kim, you know, Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion, you know, people like that. I'm not saying they have surgeries. I don't know. They could be wearing Kim's skins, whatever. And even looking at the Kardashian body shape, she wears skins. And so we don't know. We might know what she looked like naked if y'all saw the tapes. But then she was laying down. So everybody looks a little thinner laying down. So I don't know. Hope I don't get demonetized for that. But, you know, it's like, oh, I want this figure, I want that figure. But then people are wearing all of these different things under their clothes to have that figure. And it's okay if you want to do that. That's okay. But if you meet somebody, if it's not just going to be a one-night thing, they're going to eventually see you without all that stuff on. So think about that too. Like, if you don't love how you look in your natural state, if you don't love how you look, if you got a little overhang, if your thighs rub together, or this, which I hate, I don't hate it, but I really just dislike it. When I first realized that, I was waving to somebody, and I was like, what's that feeling? I was like, oh, so now I wave like this. I put my arm against my side, because I was like, what's that feel? Like, it came out of nowhere. I was like, what is that? And I was just like, oh. So now when I wave, I'm like, hey. But I'm not going to have surgery. I mean, and I know there's exercise and stuff, I do. But I'm just saying why is it so hard to just love how you look? It's because that's not what we're seeing on TV. We're seeing certain body shapes and certain body types. But what did they do to get that? Did they have surgery for that? Are they wearing extra garments under their clothes to do all of that type stuff? You know what I'm saying? And so there was a woman, I do not know her name, but there was a woman who had surgery to look like a Barbie doll, to have the Barbie doll dimensions as far as her figure. And I'm just like, why do you just not love yourself? You want to look like a doll. You want to have dimensions that are not anatomically correct because it's not a person. And this is so sad too. I went down a rabbit hole because if you watch one video outside of your thing, it'll mess up your algorithm. And I was watching was it the BBL, Brazilian butt lift, where they take fat from one area of your body and inject it into your butt. And so it slims out your stomach and it makes your butt and your hips bigger. And this one girl, she documented her journey, and I appreciate it because she did the good, the bad, the indifferent, before the surgery, right after the surgery. Her recovery was a few weeks, and she was doing updates on her YouTube channel, and I commend her for that. But when the first one she did, she was like, oh, I'm getting ready for my surgery. I looked at her and I'm like, to me, she looked fine. She ain't had no overhang. She had hips, she had a booty, she had thick thighs that weren't rubbing together like mine. But like her stomach was slim and everything. So I'm just like, what does she mean she can have surgery? Like, for what? And other people commented too. They were like, she looked perfect the way she was. But there's these in there, and some of them are so young. Somebody commented, and I almost wanted to cry. Someone commented, my 19th birthday is coming up and I can't wait for my surgery. I'm like, 19 years old and you're going to undergo anesthesia, which they do something wrong, you can die. In any type of surgery, there's a risk of infection if they're cutting your skin open anywhere. And I'm like, she's only 19. I'm like, have you even fully developed yet? And you're trying to get this figure, this shape that seems popular, and more so, and I keep saying hip hop industry because that's where I see it the most. And even in like Beyonce, who else? I don't know who else. That figure. But we don't know what they're putting on under that to suck everything in like that. You know what I'm saying? Or if they have surgeries or not. But I just felt it was so sad to be so young. Oh, my 19th birthday coming up. I can't wait to schedule my surgery. And I'm just like, you ain't even grown yet, girl. Who said there's anything wrong with how you look? And yes, in those videos, sex sells. So you have Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Beyonce dressing the way they dress. Nothing's left to the imagination. Yes, they're covered, but you can clearly see their shape because of the stuff they got on to make that shape. And men are like, oh man, that's so sexy. That's so sexy. So then you have these young girls like, I want to be sexy too, not realizing that they already are. I mean, just love yourself. And so I'm just like, When will we just love ourselves? One person complained that she was too thin, so no doctor would do her surgery. And another person was saying, because you have to have fat in a certain part for them to remove it, to inject it into your rear end and into your thighs. And she was saying, and somebody else was saying they had to gain like 30 pounds so they could have the extra weight and the extra fat so they can take it. And I'm just like, so you're intentionally trying to gain 30 pounds. I can give you 30 pounds. Easy. And I'm laughing because it's sad, and I'm just trying to like not be pissed off or be angry at the lack of self-love. Whatever you look like, just love yourself for it. If you want to change something about yourself, change something about yourself for you, not because you want to be sexy for somebody else. Love yourself and be confident in who you are. And the person that's for you will love you for who you are regardless of what you look like. And that's what I think a lot of people are missing. So they're doing all of these things to look a certain way because they think that's what somebody wants. But then they're still single. So it's just like, so what'd you do that for? Or they get more hookups. Oh, I want to be with him. He's so hot. Oh, she's so fine. I want to get with her. But does it last? Is it just a hookup? Is it just a casual thing? And that leads me to something else later. Hiccuped. Yeah, I just hiccuped. I think it's just really shallow how much emphasis is placed on quote unquote beauty. Oh man, she looks so hot. I'm gonna get with her. Or you lucky to be with him. He looks so fine. Those are just looks. They could have the blackest, darkest, most awful, ignorant heart ever. They may lack moral standards. Their ethics may be out the window. But you're like, oh, he looks so fine, girl. Is that what it's about? I get it in high school, right? I get that because we don't know no better. When we hit, 30, 40, 50, like really? Seriously? That's all you care about is looks? You 45 years old. All you care about is looks? Get out of my face, boy. Because that's what you are. You're a little boy in a grown person body. If all you can talk about is how fine he is and you want to get with him, you are a little girl in a grown woman's body. Because us mature adults love ourselves for who we are. We're not chasing after just looks. I just think it is really shallow, and it does really annoy me. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the other video or not, that it really annoys me when I think I did mention it. When someone, the first or second thing they'll say about a person is how pretty they are. Oh, he's smart and he's handsome. Why is handsome even a factor? And I know most people go by what they see. I go by what I hear. If you can stimulate my mind through conversation, that's how you get my heart and my other stuff starts tingling. But just looking at somebody, I might be like, because I don't know who they are as a person. And so it's like, oh, wow, she's intelligent and she's beautiful. And I'm just like, why is beauty so high up on the chart? Like, why? It is shallow. I'm telling you, it is shallow. Looks change. Like, what do you know about a person? And they say beauty's only skin deep. It is. It is. Long time ago when I had my Still a Beauty, what was it? Still a Junkie 07 channel. This one person I used to watch, she had got her face scarred. She was dating some guy. Something happened. His ex-girlfriend came up and threw acid on her. And she said her face started burning. And she was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it turned out it was some type of acid. I don't know if it was battery acid or what. But her face, like one side of her face. And she just kept saying how, she was just, can you fix my face? Can you fix my face? And in her videos, she would say she really believed that God allowed that to happen to her for her to realize that she's more than what she looks like. And I was like, damn. So it took for her to be permanently scarred on her face to realize she's more than what she looks like. And I was just like, whoa. And she did makeup videos and, she wore a lot of concealers and foundation, but it always looked really good though. But she was open about, she said she was always about my face and looking pretty and da-da-da-da. And when that happened, she said she was so depressed, like she didn't want to live anymore because she was all about how do I look. And so, but she got over it. She went to therapy, I think, I don't know. But it sounded like she did, like the way she was saying things, I really think she did. But she said she really think it happened for her to realize beauty isn't everything. or even our concept of beauty. Who's to say what's beautiful or not? So we're going to move on, because I do really feel like I talked about that before when I was about the world's most beautiful people or whatever. So, but just try not to place so much emphasis on beauty. Like, who sets the standard for that? I remember in high school, this one dude, when I say he was black, he wasn't that Euphoria black. He wasn't that, but he was like super dark. And he was so nice to me. We dated for a while. And other dudes I knew, and dudes are funny. And when I look back, I'm like, that's why I have so many guy friends, because half of them like you but don't want to say it. So they just cool just hanging out with you without saying, hey, you like me, because they don't want to ruin the friendship type thing. They would tell me like later on, like when we were growing, I run into them. They'd be like, yeah, I always liked you. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, like I ain't never think that. They were like, I know, that's why I never said nothing. I'm like, well, I might have if I would have thought that. I might have started thinking that. But anyway, but this one guy said to me, he was like, I always wondered, how did he, and his name was Tony. He was so nice to me though. But somebody was like, they always wondered, they were like, I would look at you and look at him like, how did he get her? They were like, all the dudes that like her, how did he get her? He ugly, he black. Like he was super dark. They were like, how he get her? And I'm like, he was nice to me. And he would talk to me. It wasn't just about hooking up or whatever. Yeah, but quite a few dudes was like, how he get D? Like, she real cute, how he get her? It ain't about looks, it's how you treat people. And that's what I want to get across to you, is how you treat people. But you gotta treat yourself good too. You gotta love yourself first before anybody else can really love you. You have to care about yourself before anybody else can really care about you. Because if you don't care about you, they're gonna be like, if you treat yourself bad, that's how they're gonna treat you. Unless they're trying to take you on as a project to make you better and improve you, and then hold that over your head to make you emotionally dependent on them for you to feel good about yourself. I don't know if I could say that again, so I hope that made sense when I said it. Just love yourself, y'all. We talked about body figures, the shapewear, clothing lines, and all of that stuff, and I think because it stays in our faces, that men are like, ooh, and they'll cheat on wives, and wives cheat on husbands, girlfriends cheat on boyfriends. You know, everybody. I'm not gonna say everybody, but all genders and all non-genders, somebody's cheating. Not everybody in that segment, but I'm just saying, regardless of what your orientation is, people cheat. And it might be with somebody who might be younger looking, pretty, whatever, but what's in your heart? What's in your soul? And is that what you want? Do you just want to just fuck somebody because you think they look good? For what? Just for casual stuff? But anyway, so it is very shallow, I think. And when people say, you're so handsome, you're so pretty, it sounds to me like they're saying that's your best quality, but they don't even know you to know what your other qualities are. So get to know people and do your best to get them to know you, so that they can know who you are and not just based on what they see. I had a date with this one guy, and he's like, oh, I thought you were taller from your pictures. I'm like, I didn't know what to say to that. I wanted to say, so should I leave? Like, are you okay with us still having lunch? Like, that was the first thing he said to me. He was like, oh, you shorter than I thought you were. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I thought you. I'm like, okay. So that started off really weird. Needless to say, that didn't last past the first date. So anyway, so just think about how you see people and the things that you say. Is it just based on looks? Is it based on their weight? Is it based on what their hair looks like, what they do with their hair? And turn all these questions inward. Are you content, and do you love yourself for your size, your shape, and your hair? What's more important, all of that, or what's in your heart? What's in your soul? What's in your intellect? You know what I mean? And so I think that might be it for part 2. And I didn't mean for this to be long. I know I kind of rambled with a lot of, experiences and stories and stuff like that. But I just want you to think about these things. Like, just love yourself for who you are. Embrace your features. Embrace your hair, however your hair type is. Try not to feel like you need to look like this person or that person. Try not to feel like you need to have, you know, a certain body type or whatever. If someone really cares about you, they won't care about that. But the thing is people putting in the time to get to know you, as well as you putting in the time to get to know them. And that's what's missing a lot of times. That's what's missing a lot of times. When I was dating, second date, they're like, oh, maybe next time you can come over. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable coming over yet, but I would like for us to continue, you know, just hanging out. I wouldn't hear from them again. Like, seriously. I very seldom had a third date. I was told I was too slow because I don't just do the casual thing. You know what I mean? And so, but if that's what attracts you to people, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying consider what it is that you want. Do you just want somebody you can roll and be like, oh my gosh, he's so handsome. He treats me like shit, but he looks so good. Or vice versa. Man, she's hot, but she is such a bitch. Ugh. You know what I mean? So what is it that you want? And how do you want people to, not say perceive you, but do you want people to really know who you are? And for them to know who you are, you need to know who you are. And you need to love yourself first. And so we're going to end here. I was going to talk about makeup again, but I talked about that before. As far as what your makeup looks like, who's to judge you, but we talked about that before and almost in every video almost, because this love yourself for who you are, for how you look, regardless of whether or not you're wearing face paint. But just consider these things that we talked about, the shallowness of looks in general, whether it be hair, weight, body type, body shape, and all of these surgeries and injections and, excuse me, and I'm not knocking it. You want to have stuff done, but have it done because you want to, and not because you want to because you think that's what other people think looks better. You know what I'm saying? I hope that made sense. And a lot of it was what they think other people want to see. I used to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I'm like, why they all look the same? Why they all look the same? The same body type, the same type of clothes. I'm like, the same type of features. And I think it was Housewives of Orange County, you know, all the fillers, the bow ties. I'm just like, they just all, wherever they were, that whole group looked the same. And I'm just like can we stop with the carbon copies and just be yourself? You know what I mean? And so when I see someone and I can be like, that's their natural features. If I see somebody on them shows with a nose like mine, I'm like, go ahead, girl, high five. Embrace that wide ass nose. Or whatever it is, or this down here. Like, this is going to be here. I'm not having surgery to take this off. And some people will, though. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But do it because you're sick of it. Have this fixed because you're sick of it wagging and you don't have to wave like this. But don't do it because you think it'll make you more attractive to somebody else. Because you don't even know if it will. So whatever you do, do it for yourself, to please yourself. Not doing it because you think it'll make you more attractive to someone else. Because if that's what they're attracted to, they'll always be attracted to someone else. If you want them to be attracted to you, you need to present yourself, not a facade of other things. And once you have those surgeries, yes, it is real. If you have a breast job done, those are your real breasts. You have the BBL, that's really your BBL. If you have butt lifts, if you have whatever's, it is really yours. But just don't do it because you think that's what will draw people to you. Because it will, but it'll be the wrong type of people because they won't care about you. They'll just care about how you look. And if something starts to sag, they're going to be over there with the next thing that looked like how you used to look before you started to sag. Because they didn't really care about you. So love yourself for who you are. Love yourself for how you look. If it's something you want to change it for you. Like, I know I need to lose some of this overhang because wearing jeans is uncomfortable because it bends down the buckle on my jeans and then I have an imprint under my belly button on my skin for like 2 days afterward. Like, seriously. Seriously. So that would be something I need to do for me, not to be sexy for a man, but just so I could wear jeans and be comfortable without the button bending. Y'all, I'm being real here. Like, so that would be for me. And so we're really going to end here. I know I said that a few minutes ago and then I started talking again. But let me know your thoughts on all of this. Let me know your thoughts on your hair has to be long and it has to be thick to be healthy. Let me know your thoughts on the natural hair community within the POC community if you're familiar with that. Let me know, like, what are your feelings about weight? Is it just the weight, or is it how it's carried on you? When I tell people what I weigh, they're like, "Are you serious? You don't look like it." Because I'm distributed. My whole body's chunky. You know, it's not just my stomach, it's the butt, it's the thigh. It's like, it's just the I'm a brick house. She's mighty, just letting it all hang out. Let me know if y'all know that song. I bet Sarah does. Hey, Princess Sarah. But let me know what you think about body figure. Like, is it a certain body figure that you feel like you need to achieve? And what do you feel about these surgeries? I think you need to be of a certain age and have gone through therapy with a therapist that's not connected to the doctor to help you figure out what's going on in your head that you feel like you need to do this thing. That's what I think. But that's just me. So let me know your thoughts on those questions. I'm trying to think if I want to put together something. I think I'm going to put together something because I appreciate y'all being here, and I want to show appreciation for y'all being here because I know this topic is way different, and I know we've been here for a long time. So just read down below. I'm going to put together something, and we'll do a giveaway. But do let me know your thoughts. You do need to be subscribed, of course. If you're interested in joining, I would appreciate that too. Joining has nothing to do with the giveaways, not at all. But if you just want to be more on the inside of what happens here behind the scenes and the topics and the videos and stuff, that's the way to do that. And if you want to make requests and suggest things, that's how you can do that. And it further supports my channel. Further meaning you just being here watching supports. Those of you who use my codes, that's further support. The super chat support. I mean, everything is support. Liking it supports. Commenting supports. Sharing videos supports. So anything above that is just extra. Excuse me. But if you do want to do super chats or thanks, or if you want to join and use my links and stuff like that, it is greatly appreciated. But that's not giveaway. That's not what I do the giveaways for. I just do the giveaways to show appreciation for y'all that are here. So the many questions I asked, feel free to leave your comments. Make sure you read down below for what the rules are going to be and for what I'm putting together to go into the kit. Today is June 28th. This will air probably the middle of July, so I'll have time to put stuff together by then. And it will be all new stuff, whether skincare or makeup or something, fuzzy socks, something. So we're gonna go, but thank you very much. I appreciate you being here for these videos. I know that they're different. We're gonna do, I have 2 more videos to do, and it's not related to this topic or the last one, which is kind of the same. Like, you know, are we conditioned to not love ourselves for who we are? It's going to be something different than that. But if something comes to mind and I have a lot of bullet points, we'll roll back around and do a part 3. But for now, we're going to switch topics for the next video, or talk through like this and just sit down and chit chat. And maybe I should, no, I'm not going to do that as a live. So, but yeah, I'm going to go seriously this time. As always, self-acceptance, self-love, that is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.